Hello, Assalamu alaikum class. Hope you're all fine and safe and taking all the precautionary measures to prevent yourself from get infected by the COVID-19. In the previous lectures, we have started the chapter of the performance management and the appraisals. And the previous chapter, we talked about the definition of the performance management system, what to appraise, why to appraise, who should do appraising, and what are the different tools and techniques methods are required to do in performing the performance appraisal. In today's lecture, we are going to discuss about the certain potential appraisal problem, that what the problems or you can say what are the problems that a manager could can face during the performance appraisal management, or you can say these are what we call rater error appraisal problem. But before getting discussing the potential appraisal problem, let's have a quick recap, a detailed recap that what we have actually studied in the previous chapters. In the previous chapters, we started with the definition of the performance appraisal, that what is performance appraisal. Performance appraisal is actually a systematic procedure, or you can say a systematic observation and evaluation of the employee's performance, that you actually evaluate the performance of an employee. And these appraisals, or you can say that these appraisals or the performance appraisal is actually the complete process by which a supervisor evaluate the performance of his subordinates. It might be based on the annual basis or the semi-annual basis for the purpose of determining the raises, promotions, training needs, for the development purposes, or you can say to identify the training needs of an employee. So then we talked about the what to appraise. In a what to appraise, we discussed the three major terms. First one was the employee goal, that your goal should be smart, that you should provide, being a manager, being an organization, you should provide organization with a clear goal, which must be specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and the timely, so that the employer can have complete picture of what he is expected to perform and how he or she is going to perform. Then we talked about who should do appraising, who should do the performance appraisal. Here we talked about the different stakeholders who can perform the performance appraisal. First one was the obviously supervisor, because has a direct experience, direct experience of working with the employee. So the supervisor is always an excellent option for the performance appraisal. However, the different organizations use the different stakeholders as well. For example, some organizations use the peer appraisal methods, or some organizations use the rating committees, which are consist of the managers, supervisor, or the supervisor or the managers of the from the other department. Then in most organizations, for the development purposes, the organizations actually appraise manager based on the by appraising them, or you can say evaluate the supervisors based on the appraisal from the subordinate. So it is again a very important aspect. If we talk about that our organization is using all these three methods, then we have the latest and the contemporary approach to the performance modeling, that is the 360-degree feedback. Then that the 360-degree feedback actually is a multi-rater technique in which the we valued employee, if from all complete side, from even from the internal stakeholders and the external stakeholders, even we evaluate him or her based on the client's reaction to their services. So 360-degree feedback is also provide us an opportunity to evaluate our employee from all the directions, then we talked about the different tools and techniques that are available to perform the performance appraisals. Obviously, organizations use several methods to appraise the performance. Purpose. First one is actually the graphing rating scale, in which that is the simplest technique for evaluating any employee. In this technique, we actually have a list, or you can say the scale. We have a scale in which we list the number of the important work dimensions, and for each dimension there is a specific range for each one. So for each dimension, the valuation schemes are typically used to assess the important work dimensions, or maybe it range from the 1 to 50, or you can say 1 to 100, or 1 to 5, based on the acceptable lead performance, acceptable or excellent performance. Then comes the ranking, in which we talked about that there are the ranking method, alteration ranking method, in which we involve employees, managers rank their subordinate in order of their performance effectiveness from best to the worst. So, first, the usual procedure requires that the rater to write the name of the best subordinate on the top of the list, then the name of the worst at the bottom, and continue this sequential procedure until all the subordinates are listed. Then we talked about the paired comparison method. In the paired comparison method, we talked about we talked about that actually we compare or we differentiate subordinates based on the in the base of the in the terms of the pair stat. We only compare two subordinates at a time, so that it will provide will give us an opportunity. Being a manager, it will give us an opportunity to rate each and every employee, or you can simply compare each and every employee with other employees. Then we talked about the forced distribution method, in which there is a predetermined percentage, and you on the predetermined percentage of the data ratees employee place each and every employee based on that percentage. This is what we call grading on a curve, that we have a 5 point scale in which we have already have a predetermined percentage that 5% will be must be fall in the A category, 5% must be fall in the least category. So this is we call forced distribution method. Then comes the critical incident method. In the critical incident method, we have the examples of the good and the bad behaviors. The managers actually observe the employee and write down the good and bad examples, and after a month or after the appraisal period, the employee use these incidents to evaluate the employee's performance. Then comes the narrative form. Narrative form means that you actually write down the description of each and every. You write the description of your score, or you could write the description about the employee. So when we talk about the narrative form is not actually used in isolation. It is actually used in comparison with the different forms of evaluation. Sometimes it used with the graphic rating scale. Sometimes it is used with the ranking method scales. It is actually used to justify the ranking. Then comes the bars, that is the behavioral anchoring rating scale. In the bars, we actually measure or attach scales to the different incidents that are provided by the manager. So in the bars is actually the advanced form of the critical incident method. Then we talked about the management by objective. Management by objective is the most, or you can say, the contemporary approach to appraise the performance. It consists of the 6 steps. The major, you can say, the major purpose of the MBO is the that the employee and the employees have a mutual discussion on the goals, and then they decide the goals. That you can see the management through management by objective, we have the agreed goal. In agreed goals, the mutual agreed goal, in which are both agreed by the employee and the employer. So in this, we actually categorized, or you can say we actually jot down the organizational goal into the smaller goals. Now, obviously, which method is best? It depends upon the situation. Every method has a good and bad thing. So it is better to use the different approaches, or you can say it is better to use a mixed standard scale, in which there are the more than 1 to 2 scale method, so that you can avoid the weaknesses of one scale by using the another scale. Now come toward the today's lecture, that is the potential appraisal problems. Now, first one is the obviously, when we talk about the performance appraisal methods, all the employees use the different performance appraisal systems with with have a clear goal in his mind. But sometimes, being a human being, there are certain errors associated with the performance appraisal method. So here we are going to discuss about the different potential appraisal problems. The first one is unclear standard. Obviously, your standards should be clear with employees. Why in the previous lectures we talk about the SMART goal, that the SMART goals actually help you to clarify what is expected from the employees, and what is the specified criteria on which the employees are going to be evaluated. So if the standards are not clear, let's take the example of the graphing rating scale, or you can say, let's take example of the narrative form, where the standards are not in terms of the graphic rating scales. Obviously, when we say that your performance, when we rate the or we when provide a scale from the excellent, fair, good, poor, etc. Now what is actually the standard of excellent, what is actually the criteria for fair, what is the criteria of the good, what is the criteria of the poor? So these criteria are not objective, or these criteria are not the degree of these criteria are ambiguous. So sometimes for example, for me the excellent means having the score of 80. For you, maybe the excellent means having the score of 70. So these unclear standards actually lead to the problem in terms of appraising the employers. So the best way to fix this problem is to include the complete you can say complete narration, or you can say the complete phrases that defines that defines each trade. Let's take the example of the bars. When we talk about the bars, this method is not this method, or you can say this problem is actually overcome by using the bars. Why? Because in bars we use the behavior, we use the proper examples with each and every rating. So unclear standards can be can be solved by using the bars. Okay, next comes to the next come to the error, that is the halo effect. This is the actually the psychological term. In psychological term, we talked about the halo effect. That what is halo effect? Now, what is halo effect? If we talk about the halo effect, it is actually the tendencies of the supervisor, or you can say the problem occur when a supervisor rating of a subordinate on one trait biases the rating of that trait on other trait. Or you can say when a single trait or the dimension of the subordinate performance is allowed to influence the supervisor rating of that subordinate on other dimensions. This is what we call halo effect. When one single trait influence the influence the supervisor's rating of that subordinate is called halo effect. That for example, take the example of an employee A. If the supervisor likes that employee, Mr. A, because he is so cooperative, then the halo effect leads Mr. A supervisor to automatically rate him high on all the appraisal dimensions, including the leadership, management, personnel administration, regardless of his performance. So this is what we call halo effect. I am repeating, what is halo effect? Halo effect means that when your one trait have the tendency to encapsulate the all rating of the all rating of the subordinate sorry all rating of the supervisor. Let's take the example that if an employee is very aggressive, due to the certain reasons, or you can say due to the personality of Mr. A. Mr. A is very aggressive person. So when the supervisor going to evaluate him, he will actually keep this in mind that he is very aggressive, and it is a tendency that the manager might might rate him based on his this only trait. This is what we called halo effect. I am repeating that what is halo effect? It is actually the perception. It is based on the perception of an employee of based on the certain characteristics. When it occurs when the managers have an positive or the negative view of the particular employee, and he just rate him or her based on that particular trait. This trait can be positive, this trait can be negative based on the employees based on the supervisor's experience with that particular employer. So I'm repeating that when an manager generalize one of the employee's trait and extend it all to the other dimension, other view based on the one rating, one aspect he actually rate him. His whole rating is based on that particular single trait. This is what we call halo effect. Why it is negative? Obviously, on you are taking just one, or you are taking just one aspect of the performance, and you just use that one aspect of the performance to evaluate complete performance. And this is why this is we call it is the negative impact. Clear? So the now how you can actually mitigate on now how actually you remove this trait. The best way to mitigate this is by using an evaluation method that is as accurate as possible, or that is as objective as possible, so that it enable the managers to observe and measurable without leaving room for the any interpretation. So it here, to avoid the halo effect, sometimes there are the need for the training, that so that these training to the supervisor help to mitigate this type of the errors. Then comes the central tendency error. Okay, central tendency errors means that rating all the employees average. That central tendency being that you just rate your employee on a central tendency rather than performance, or rather than being a high performance or the low performance. You being a manager just to rate your employee on average, and this will actually this is error. Why? Because it actually make the performance appraisal less useful for the promotion, salary, and the counseling purposes. Actually the purpose of the purpose of the performance appraisal can't be reached by the central tendency error. I'm repeating that. What is central tendency? Central tendency is actually the ability of manager to attribute or to evaluate all the employees based on the one characteristic. That is the sorry When we talk about the central tendency error, it is the tendency to avoid you can say avoid making extreme judgments of employees performance, resulting rating of all the employees in the middle part of the scale, that you just rate your employees on as neutral, rather than being a high performance, or rather than being a low performer. You just rate your employees, or you just rate an employee on average basis. This can either happen when the manager is not comfortable with conflict, or avoid low marks to avoid dealing with any behavioral issues, or the when the manager is intentionally force all the employees to be at the middle of the scale. So I'm repeating that central tendency means rating all the employees average. For example, if the rating has the from 1, 2, 3, and 5, if the rating has if if the rating if the rating has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you just rate your employees based on this scale. So doing this will actually distort the complete performance appraisal process. And the main purpose of, or you can say the purpose, you being a manager, you are not able to achieve the main purpose of the performance appraisal. Why? Because you are not able to use this kind of the performance appraisal in the promotions, in the promotion decisions, in assembly decisions, or in the developmental decisions. So rather than how you can actually mitigate the central tendencies, you can use, instead of using the rating scale, you can use ranking method. So alternation ranking method actually help the managers to reduce this sort of the problem, since ranking means that you are just ranking employees from 1 to 10 or 1 to 20, which will eliminate all type of the rating or all the tendencies to rate employees in a certain dimensions. Okay, then opposite to the central tendency is actually the leniency or the strictness tendencies. In this, what actually what actually the supervisors do? The supervisors tends to rate all other employees high or low, just just to avoid any sort of the conflict. When we talk about the strictness, you rate all the employees in the low extreme values. Or when you talk about the leniency, you rate all the employees, or you rate all the dimension of employed based on the highest, based on the based on the higher rating. So now, when we talk about the leniency error, it is the greatest tendency to rate all the employees on the positive end of the scale. If we talk about the strictness error, it is the tendency of the supervisor to rate employees at the lower end of the scale. So it can be upper end, it can be lower end. Depends on the employees, or you can say depend upon the employees. Depend upon the supervisor. So this is actually the this is actually the error by the error by the subordinates. Sorry, error by the supervisor. The some raters actually some raters actually dislike to be too strict with anyone, so they give them an extremely so they give them a so they give them an higher score. So sometimes sometimes employees sometimes the managers are too strict, and they are reluctant to give the to give the high rating scale, or sometimes they deserve that. They think that no one is ever deserved to get the higher possible rate. So this result of this types of attitude is that you know the result of this type of error is that you sometimes subordinates on a higher order, rank on the higher end of the scale, or sometimes rank on the lower end of the scale based on the person. Then comes the recency errors. Recency error, obviously the word shows that recent, that the supervisor actually rate the employees based on the most recent events. If, for example, take the example of the performance appraisal period which are conducting after 1 year, or you have are going to conduct a performance appraisal after the 1 year or the 2 year. So ideally the performance appraisal should based on the data collected about the subordinates performance over a full year evaluation period. But however, in some cases the supervisor is likely to do consider the recent performance more strongly than the performance behavior that occurred earlier. This is what we call recency of event, or recency of, and that employees the supervisor just rate employees based on the recent error. Let's take the example of the student and teacher. The student, the whole semester, students are student one of the students are very respectful, are very are very participative, are very are very obedient student. But maybe due to certain psychological stress, or due to the certain problem, certain personal problem, in the last 2 weeks the student reacted aggressively, or students show the very assertive behavior. Based on while evaluating, or while grading the participation marks or the class behavior marks, the teacher just focus on the last 2 weeks rather than the performance of the whole semester. This is what we call recency of event. It can be positive or it can be negative. Sometimes when we talked about sometime when we talk about the recency error, it can be positive, that based on the certain recent event you evaluate you evaluate the subordinate positive, or it can be that based on the certain recent event you evaluate the employee negative. So recency of events means that you actually evaluate your performance, you actually evaluate the performance of the employee just based on the recent event, rather than taking rather than taking on the whole year in the account. You just focus on the most recent, or you can say you just focus on the most recent events. This is what we call recency effect. Clear? Okay, I'm going to repeat that what we were talking about. We were talking about the potential appraisal problems. Now, we started with the unclear standards, that sometimes the standards are not clear, due to which, sometimes the performance standards are not clear, due to which result actually the poor performance appraisals. For example, in rating scales, sometimes the words or the grade used as the excellent, poor, fair, etc., etc. So this actually lead to the different interpretations of the excellent, and the different interpretations of the ambiguous word. Then comes the halo effect. In halo effect, the supervisor rate employee based on just one characteristic. Keeping in mind one characteristic, the supervisor rate the subordinate based on that particular trait. Then comes the central tendency. It is the tendency, or you can say it is the rater error, that actually the manager rate all the employees on a center of the scale. That it is a tendency to rate all the employees average. Then comes the leniency or the strictness, that it is the tendency of an supervisor, it is a tendency of an error to rate an employee based on the maybe on the higher end of the scale or based on the lower end of the scale. Then comes the recency effect. Recency effect actually shows that the employees, or you can say that the managers have the tendency to rate the employees based on the recent events. These recent events can be positive, can be negative. So here now these are all the performance appraisal. Now the question is how we can actually avoid these sort of the, or you can say how we can actually reduce these errors. So there are the there are the many there are the many methods through which we can actually resolve these potential problems. First one is obviously mitigating the unclear standards, that you should develop a precise performance measurement. If the methods and the formulas used in the performance appraisals are unclear, obviously it will jeopardize the whole process. So organization should, or you can say must have a specialist human resource team to design the and design the objective performance measurement. Then comes the evaluation criteria. Obviously, when we are talking about the unclear standards, so the strategy or one of the technique through which we can decrease this type of error is by using the alternate ranking method, that we shift from the rating to the ranking method. And other one is to having a evaluation, a complete evaluation criteria, or we should have a more comprehensive view of the KPIs, that is the key performance indicators. This by this we actually reduce the impact of the halo effect, or we reduce the we can reduce the impact of the halo effect. Even we can reduce the central tendency error if we use the if we use the proper KPIs and we use the performance measurement scales. One of the method, or you can say one of the technique through which we can actually minimize the use of the performance minimize these errors is actually use the performance appraisals that are based on the individual traits, rather than the performance reviews that are based on the simple individual trait. We should use the more objective information. Obviously, when we talk about the individual traits, these traits are too subjective, and sometimes it has nothing to do with the employee's performance. So by designing the performance evaluation, or by designing the performance evaluation method and the performance the performance appraisal form, the company should focus on that they encapsulated that include all the aspect of the job, rather than focusing on the single trait. It encapsulate, or it must have the all the competencies required to perform a to perform a specific task. Then obviously these all the errors are coming are the result of the poor the poor feedback given by poor feedback by the appraisers. So it is very important to provide training to the appraisers so that they can overcome the common problems during the review. So a simple training process eliminate the problems that normally arises. In terms of the problem that often arises, the supervisors, or the raters or the appraisers should realize that they have the ability to bypass them. We being an evaluators, we being a supervisor, we must be very objective in evaluating our employees. So whenever we talk about the professionals, when even we are being a professional, we should being a professionals, or you can say being a evaluators, we should focus on personal bias. We should avoid our personal opinions, our personal biasness during the evaluation process. So through this we can actually mitigate, or we can actually avoid these raters errors. Obviously, it is in a previous lectures we talked about the who should do appraisal. So another way to avoid the performance review error is to obtain feedback from more than one appraiser. Sometimes we can use the 360-degree feedback, so that we have the complete picture, or we have the complete picture of a performance. So, having these several appraisals remove any biasness in relation to an employee's performance or the use of the stereotypes, or errors like, halo effect, or the leniency errors, or the strictness error, or the center tendency will also become less likely. Why? Because we are using the several appraisals. If one manager is involved in the stereotyping behavior, the others will actually help it to avoid these type of the stereotyping. Obviously, at the end, the last one is the providing the constant feedback. So the best way to avoid the problems with the performance reviews is to provide the feedback on a regular basis. Obviously, it is said that the practice make a man perfect. So in addition to this, the constant feedback actually help the employees help the employees to have a positive review, or to have a positive insight about their own performance, and they will be able to detect where the problem is, or is at the same time they will able to take the corrective action, so that they can improve the performance appraisal. So one of the an approach to provide the constant feedback is the appraisal interview. And in the next lecture, inshallah, we are going to discuss the appraisal interviews in today's lecture. Now I'm going to wrap up the today's lecture. That in today's lecture we talked about the different rater's error appraisal problems, that there are the different appraisal problems related to the performance appraisal. These can be unclear standard, halo effect, central tendency, or the leniency, or the strictness, or the recency error. Being a evaluator, we must should, or you can say we should keep our personal biases aside, or we should use certain objective criteria and objective measures through which we can actually use, or through which we can actually evaluate, remove or mitigate these type of the performance appraisal. Thank you. Inshallah, in the next lecture we are going to discuss about the performance appraisal, or sorry, we are going to discuss the appraisal interviews, and we will discuss the performance management, and what is the major difference between the performance appraisal procedure and the performance management. Thank you so much, class, for listening. Take care. Allah Hafiz.